was too cool for school, but not as cool as Doug McCambridge.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I don't want to build up your audience,
Too late,
build
dude.
up
You
their
are killing it.
expectations.
You are doing an awesome job.
Oh, okay, great.
We're talking about the reggae, ska, punk, rock band Sublime.
Yeah, all right. So you did a curtain pullback last time, and you were like, all right, so we're doing both these episodes at the same time.
We're not VH1 behind the music. All we're doing is just summing up what is an appeal. I'll give you some trivia from all music.
No, but you asked me, you were like, hey, do you want to talk about a band? What type of music are you into? Things like that. I'm not a music guy. I mean, hopefully you know that by the fact that I chose a band whose lead singer died in 96.
Well, and see, this was fun to prep for because I had no idea about it because I was also familiar with Sublime with Rome, where the head drummer of that, Joe Tomino, teamed up with singer and guitarist Rome Ramirez. And what's funny is I was asking other people, it's like, are they related? I don't know. They sound similar. And it's like, it's kind of 2.0. But they're an interesting band because you either know them from just select singles or you kind of know a bit of everything, I guess.
They're a band that I mean, I don't know, whatever. In middle school or
Bad Fish, April 29th, Boss DJ, Santeria gets overplayed, and there's What I Got. That was what really made me a fan. But I think I mainly knew him because Smoke Two Joints and Wrong Way was on so many music party playlists growing up for me. And it was kind of, to me, in that same vein. I'm not saying they're the same, just disclaimer. It was kind of, to me, kind of like Butthole Surfers meets kind of like those other Tenacious D and Primus kind of bands. It's like, these are guys who you can only watch on MTV after, 3 a.m. It's that kind of weirdness. And knowing the history of it, it's so weird how kind of every other song that's gone platinum is about some really fucked up shit.
I just,
it's like Tarantino. If he wrote Sublime, this is what a rock band, this is what it sounds like.
They were out in a time where most of my friends were into Nirvana and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. And while I can appreciate that music for what it is and for setting a trend and the fashion, the flannel shirt over a t-shirt open, I kind of dig it. Like if people still dress like that, I probably still would. But I was never into that style of music.
Fun fact, did you know that they didn't even realize they were big until, I kid you not, Weird Al parodied Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, I was like, wait, Weird Al parodied Sublime? I had no idea
where you were going with this. Did Weird Al make fun of
it? No, I didn't really know that about Nirvana. Like I said, their music was totally fine, but it was nothing that I listened to or paid attention to.
It's not my thing.
So I enjoyed them. I always enjoyed sort of the sound of reggae music. I was a fan of ska music. I was a fan of punk music, and it's just this goofy mashup that kind of shouldn't work, but I really dug it. I was totally into it. And everybody else freaked out and lost their shit when Kurt Cobain died. I was super sad when Bradley OD'd. Like, I was really, really bummed out.
Really young. And it's so weird because I was just listening to the podcast 60 Songs That Defined the 90s. That's by the new Spotify original. And they were talking about how the head singer of Gin Blossoms was a pain in the ass to work with, and he killed himself before their single came out. It's the same kind of deal. It's just like, man, it has to be a rough environment just getting all these animals together and to record something coherently, because it just sure seems like.
Yeah, I mean, if it seems to be a trend for certain bands that if you get any sort of success, or sometimes people that are into music, sometimes people that play music, I don't know what it is about their personality that can sort of take them down paths of addiction and things like that, and it's really sad and it's a shame.
It's
but
very sad.
I mean, but and I'm not saying him dying was a good thing, but after that they went off on their own as bandmates, and they made
this was really cool to learn about this. It's just
it was a terrible. They made what was the name of the band they formed after this?
That guy. I'm just kidding.
No, I forget what they were called, but it was kind of like Sublime Light, and it was like, okay, this is fine, this is okay, but you understood who was behind Sublime, and without him, it just didn't work. And then Sublime with Rome,
but yeah,
I tried to listen to that. It was unlistenable.
Now was the guy who was the front man, and then Eric Wilson, Bud Gog formed off.
Yeah.
I had no idea the blue dog, the Dalmatian, was the mascot.
Yeah, right,
I always thought that was just a random dog off the street they were taking videos of.
No, that was Bradley's dog.
And what's funny, if you look at Bradley Nowell and some stuff, you swear for a minute, it's like, is that Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Oh yeah, no, he's got that.
He's got too much hair, look. But he almost looks like even just some other person not you'd see on MTV, like Steve-O. And you're like, who the fuck is that?
Long Beach Dub All Stars was the name of the next band.
Long Beach All Stars.
Wow. Yeah, Long Beach Dub All Stars. The name is way too long. That's
why it was hard to...
Yeah, they had a song or two on some movie soundtracks, things like that. They released a couple albums.
My god, if I've heard their songs, I don't remember it, so I'm going to take your word for it. But I've definitely seen some of these covers on some.
Probably seen the albums. Yep. Yeah.
What movie soundtracks were they on? They were on.
I don't. Maybe it wasn't a soundtrack. Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe it was some radio play. Not 100% sure. This is all the fun dead air.
Self-titled is the first thing that comes in. Whatever. I've definitely heard of them. Yes. Okay, so they were in Life or something like it. All these other local LA movies. Oh my god, they did music for Joey the French spinoff. So
you know what? That might actually be it. That might be
Sunny Hours is the song.
Yep.
Wow.
100%. It was played on the radio a little bit. I've never seen that show, but
it's terrible. Don't see it.
That sounds totally familiar. Well, you know what? I will promise you I'm not going to go and watch a Friends spinoff in the year 2024.
It's tough telling people no sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, they were just a band that connected with me, just my personal music taste. I was kind of surprised then in their self-titled album when stuff was starting to be played on the radio. I was really kind of surprised by that. It was nothing that I kind of saw coming. And then I had a friend that lived out in California. I went out to visit her, and I'm on the East Coast. So out there, this is what they play. This is the kind of music that's just playing. You go into like a McDonald's and this is the kind of thing they play out there. I had no idea. Like I had no idea that the type of music that I really like was just available anywhere you went on the West Coast, basically.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by that, how different that could be. Here? Yeah, I just kind of assumed, okay, this is the garbage shit they play on the radio here. It must be the same thing they play everywhere else in the United States, but apparently not the case.
Yeah, it's, you never know what's going on in here, but it is kind of just the way their lyrics are going. You just feel like they're hopping around in the room with you doing some crazy show, and somehow their childish nature kind of makes it more amusing and charming. It's like the uncles that didn't grow up that are taking up space on your couch, and they put on a show.
I do have to say, I saw them live. I was able to see them live in 94.
How was that?
I think it was, well, that's the thing. It wasn't very good. It wasn't very good at all. They weren't great live. They do so much mixing and so much dubbing and stuff like that, and it's basically just a 3-man group. But you listen to some of the songs and you're like, no, there's a lot of stuff layered in here. So when they were live, it's not like they brought a full orchestra with them. They didn't even have horn players when I saw them, so it was a little bit limiting. I mean, yeah, I was a little bit let down, but whatever. I got to see them. He's dead. It was a they had a brief moment, and I kind of appreciate that. Would I've liked to have bought another 3, 4, 5 albums from them? Sure, yeah, that would have been great, but they might have just ended up sucking. I don't know. There's a good
so
chance
it's very laid back, been described as mellow, carefree drug music.
Yeah, some of the songs, I think that's what works, and that's what I like, is it swings wildly between things.
I'm not getting as much of the punk though that they say they're trying to establish. I mean, they're garage definitely, but I've seen other people say garage punk, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're kind of more, they're half and half. I feel like they're definitely great at being garage LA music, but as a punk band, they're kind of more, I don't feel like they quite cut the mustard because of again, just so in their moment.
Right. I think it depends what album you're listening to.
But given how they played this at college radios and that kind of gave them some extra stuff, I do feel like they are a good example of in the 90s on the do-it-yourself kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. No, they
formed their own record company called Skunk.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they released an album. God, this is how unprepared I am.
It's
fine, they released an album. They released an album. It's called Robin the Hood, and it's just a 4-track.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Like, it's just a 4-track.
I think that's what did them in. They started caring less as they went on.
Well, I think that stuff was recorded before, like that was recorded prior.
Universal picked them up for that one. MCA Records.
Right. But to put that out like as a full album, and to just say this is gonna be as punk and as bass as it can possibly be, and then editing in, like, this was a big thing, as you know, in the 90s and things, when you had CDs and you had, hidden tracks, and you had other tracks where it's just people talking for 20 minutes. Like, they lean into that. It's not a great album, but I appreciate that they did that.
I see comparisons to Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Rancid, Smash Mouth. I can see that.
Yeah,
I think they're
definitely
only
Rancid.
They did a remix of a No Doubt song, which wasn't that great. Also early on. But
they had I mean, I think it was their song, and Gwen Stefani sang with him, if that's the one you're referring to. Saw Red.
It's like it was a half and half thing, but I'm
right.
I'm seeing Free 11 and Real Big Fish being compared to them, and I'm like, kind of. It's just, I feel like they just came out at the same time. They just
they just came out at the same time, and that's why I really enjoyed them. Is that I don't think you can pigeonhole them. I think that
I am not shitting on them, but there's plenty to shit on.
No. I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying
disclaimer.
311.
I do disclaimers here.
Right. 311 has a style. Like 311 has a sound. All 311 music kind of sounds the same. Or 311, basically, to be fair, they play two types of songs that are very different, and they just do those again and again and again for 311. Sublime, and especially if you listen to 40 Ounces of Freedom, that thing veers wildly between reggae, punk, and rock, and it's all over the place. There's a lot of notes of ska in that album. That's easily their best album, hands down, by far. By the time they get their self-titled album, I think it's a bit redundant. Yeah, I think it's still effective. But in 40 Ounces to Freedom, they just show what they can do. It's just them showing off. It almost sounds like a demo, just saying, okay, can we get played on every type of radio station? Because here's our album.
I think they kind of were angling for some of that back in the day.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who wasn't? And I mean, he, and he died before. He died right around the time that they started to become really big, and probably could have cashed in. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody in that band is hurting for money or anything like that. I'm sure the licenses and, everything is paying out really well. But I think they were just about to take off, because that album came out right around the time he died. And that was a huge album. I mean, that was really, really big when it came out. Like you said, the college scene at that time, it was all any stupid fucking frat loser could do is sing those dumb songs. Like,
we admire you for it.
Yeah.
Wow. How would you describe the college rock scene nowadays? Because it seems like the frat boy stuff you don't really see too much of. You kind of see more people doing covers, or like,
yeah,
I mean, you'll see sarcastic covers of stuff like that, otherwise serious songs, but you see less of the dread and emo kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, and I mentioned on the previous episode, the previous time we talked, that I do teach college. So I kind of see some of it, but I can't connect with it. Like, I don't know. Like, it feels, strangely enough, it kind of feels as diverse as it was, when I was in college, and probably as it ever was. There are these hillbillies that just listen to country music, and then there's people that listen to rap and R&B, and so I couldn't even tell you what type of music is out today. But I also feel, and I never want to be the person who just is like, well, kids today, they don't blah blah blah. I hate that so much. I never want to be that person, because my parents said that about me, and their parents said that about them, and it's just like back in the day was good, or we think it was good because we were young, and being young is good. Like, that's why when I was 18 to 25, like, that seemed to be the time, because being 18 to 25 is pretty fucking great.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna look at kids today and be like, kids today. That's stupid. That's short-sighted. I hate it. So I don't know what they listen to, but I'm sure they enjoy it.
Enough to do that. Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Well, this has been great. Just kind of just going back and forth. I feel like they're very easy to discover, but like you say, it's kind of like, it doesn't have to be this. They're problematic, but they're also kind of a thing of their time, and I think that's why somehow people let them go. They're just kind of they're kind of party animal music.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, to say problematic is accurate, certainly by today's standards, and there's a lot of songs and a lot of lyrics that I'll sing along to now, and I'm like, well, that's pretty shitty. But I think, and that's the other thing.
It was fun at the time.
Right. Yeah. And you can say that about almost everything. And I'm not saying that anyone deserves a pass because, it was back then, or
it
blah,
unfortunately
blah, blah,
does
whatever.
add a lot of toxicness to our.
Yeah, these are arguments that happen all the time, and I think that they're certainly worth happening. at times, but also, what are you going to say? Who are you going to complain to? The lead singer's dead. The rest of the band doesn't give a
paid
shit.
for it already.
Right. It doesn't matter at this point. And there's also a little bit, this is something I also try not to do. I feel like this is just a big therapy session for me.
This is kind of it brings us on our show, all these chats.
The other thing I try not to do is to get angry and to be like, well, you know what? I was into Sublime before anybody else was into Sublime.
Oh my God.
Because I have friends that do that with like REM. They'll be like, you know what, I listened to
I knew
REM
them before they were cool.
Yes, exactly. And I understand that. And there's part of me that kind of feels the same way. But there's also that really nice thing, like when other people knew about Sublime, I just kind of felt good for the band. I was like, well, thank God, because, you know, you talk about bands like the Boss Tones and everything like that, and boy, did they hit their height of height when they appeared in Clueless for 5 minutes. But that was it. Like, that was it. They're done now. They're gone. Like, that was the best they ever did. And every now and then you'll still hear that one Boston song on the radio or Sirius XM or whatever you're listening to, but you still hear Sublime. You'll hear them 28 times to that one Boston song.
You will hear them practically every day. Oh my God. The radio is so uninspired. So I don't know. I think they did the best they could.
Yeah, sure. No, they knew what they wanted to do. They knew the type of music they
classic,
played.
But they are definitely a classic crazy LA based ska group in that.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe a classic in that, again, independent, do it themselves, crazy stupid luck, and then death. And then
that type of genre, I don't think they created it.
It's not
it was a mashup.
I mean, there's so many other infamous ones where like people liked, but not for the right reasons, like Milli Vanilli and freaking what's the other? I mean, there's the Rico Suave guy, you know. So it's like I wouldn't put it as that kind of unintentional camp that dominated.
No.
Different genres.
What was that guy's name? Gerardo? Was it Gerardo?
Yeah, it was like I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but that's the thing is, listen, who listened to Milli Vanilli and said, that's what I'm gonna do?
I want to be like him. Right. Oh my God.
But there are a lot of bands right now, you know, they're still doing this. And just a couple come to mind. Like there's a band called Pepper and there's a band called Slightly Stupid. Like they just do Sublime stuff. Like it's the same thing. And there's a bunch of like there's a band called the Dirty Heads. Like they spawned
heard of the Dirty Heads.
Yeah, they kind of spawned a genre of music. And it's all, you know, it's all that Long Beach, it's all that Hawaii, you know, stuff like that. But I don't think there's a lot of bands out there, and that's why I do compare them to stuff like Nirvana and Pearl Jam. Like I mean, you know, I don't know, not to that degree. They didn't have that. To be fair,
all these groups kind of ruined everything for us because I feel like the record companies, much like the ones who just kind of just said, you got to all sound like these guys, they didn't know why it worked. They were just like, you know, pre-internet. They're like, I don't know why this is dominating the internet or not the internet, the radio. And I don't know why it's but it is. And, well, I'm going to keep producing this, even though I think it's shit.
It is kind of amazing because I am so disconnected from music now. And I guess the answer, it might be TikTok. I don't know if that's the answer, but how do bands make it big now? Like, I don't.
Yeah, Spotify is really killing a lot of stuff. Feel free to drop a Spotify. Fuck you. Okay. And it's interesting how everyone, how do you get noticed if you got to give it away practically for free?
Right. Yeah. Because you mentioned record producers and things like that. And I know they're still around, of course. Like
here in Dallas, the only metal station left is a college radio one.
Oh, okay.
Our biggest one, the Eagle, folded and became a sports station.
Yeah, no.
By the guy who does the syndicated show, The Ticket.
If you're
Who
just
asked for that?
if you're doing talk radio,
There's
I think
already a
that's the only
sports
way.
station. Why did we need another?
I mean, but what are you gonna do? Like, radio's dead, man. Like,
It is
radio's
dead.
totally
Except
dead.
to the
I mean, it's
guys
been
who want to
dead for
hear.
way too long.
The only ones who listen to it are the angry uncles who just want to
Right.
hear political
the only-
rants and religion.
Right. Yes. If you want to listen to sports talk, or you want to listen to politics, yeah, that's it. Like that's all there is. But because of that, like I don't know how new music is being heard, or I don't know where it's being heard. You know
It's
what I mean? Like,
definitely Spotify and people sharing it
Okay.
on those TikTok
All right.
sites, but it's also
That's
one of
good.
those.
I mean,
it's like, but half
good-
the time it's in a negative instance. Like people are like, "What's that awesome song in that shitty person's video?" And it's just like, well,
yeah.
so
That's a
it's
shame.
it's still connected to some kind of infamy, if you will. And I'm like, well, but these guys were kind of infamously getting off the ground, but they were somehow able to convey their shitty lifestyle into a fun narrative. So
Yeah.
that's more than I can say about all these other guys who, the more you hear them, you're like, man, you really are a piece of work. I don't even want to be
Right.
bothered with you.
Yeah. No. Everyone's got their story to tell, whether it's true or you're just making it up for your music.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you got them, they would be. I don't think they'd be like Prince, where you don't know what you're gonna get. But I do feel like they would have been incoherent just to even get them to sit down for a minute and talk about how they got into this.
No, I mean, I've seen interviews with them, and I think it's like anyone else. I mean, listen,
okay.
Kurt
That's good.
Cobain was a heroin addict, but you can prop him up in front of a camera and
You
he'll
can
answer
sound- you
questions
can get
and
something
talk. Like,
coherent.
yeah, right, exactly. Like they can. Most musicians can keep it together to play a song or two. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I feel like, I don't care what kind of addict you are, and you could probably dig up footage of Bradley fucking up at a show or but it's one of those things where
It can't
I
be
saw
worse
them.
than Rob Zombie,
Yeah.
who has his voice go out after the first act.
Well, right, yeah. Well, I think that's what, yeah, I think that's for different reasons though.
Burn to the witches. I'm just doing a
Yeah,
person.
Rob Zombie, that was music I never really got into. Although strangely enough, I
I
never
mostly
listened to
got
his
into it
music.
because it was in movies.
Yeah, I never really listened to his music, but at this point, I think I'd rather listen to his music than watch his movies.
Oof. Yeah.
Don't know how popular that is, but yeah.
No, I think you're good. I think even people who like bad movies don't like his.
Yeah. Although I like that, what was that Witches one he made? Kind of dug that.
Was that the
I can't think
Lords
of
of
it.
Salem? Yeah.
Lords of Salem. Yes,
It was
I kind of
watchable.
I enjoyed it because it was weird. It was really weird. It
was
wasn't
better than
ultra
his other
violent.
stuff.
It was it was more creepy and bizarre and atmospheric, and I enjoyed that way more than, I don't know, some stupid gore fest or learning the history of Michael Myers. Like, ugh,
Oh,
no,
God.
don't. I
Yeah.
can't.
Mhm.
I don't need to know that he tortured animals. Thanks, Rob Zombie. Thanks for making that up.
Yeah, I don't need to know. So, Doug,
Yeah.
where can we find you on the interwebs, brother?
You can find me anywhere you can type in the words "good times, great movies," and that's any search engine, I assume. If you type that in,
9,000.
yeah, we're the only thing that comes up. So yeah, check out the podcast. It's an 80s movie podcast. Good movies, bad movies, everything in between. I don't know when this is coming out, but we had
Pretty
to
soon.
we had to shed the horror that was our December of Bo Derek. And I said that we talk about movies that are off of our radar, most people's radar. We needed a palate cleanser, so we recently talked about Beetlejuice because it's an absolute delight. We needed something that would be enjoyable.
Uncle.
Yeah. Before we get back into it, who knows what we'll cover next for some other piece of video garbage that we dug up.
Some shit.
Yeah.
Well, there's always plenty of that here on this show.
ton.
So we
It's
might ask
everywhere.
you. We might ask you to do some lowbrow movie franchise.
Hey, I will.
Where you
I
have
will
only
come
seen
on.
the first one and you got nothing else to say about the others. That'd be a funny
I will.
April Fool's episode. We're like, I haven't seen the others. We've seen the trailers and I laughed my ass off. Then
Listen,
that's what you're gonna get.
I told you, if you want me to simply be your horror movie puppet expert, I'll come on to talk about Ghoulies. I'll do the whole Critters thing. I'll watch Munchies for you. It doesn't
Leprechaun,
matter.
We'll do it.
I'll do Leprechaun. I think I saw just about all of those. I'm not in a hurry to revisit them, but I will if you want me to.
Perfect. Yeah, brother. So, you got your work cut out for you, and you're having a fun time. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. No. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much. No, this has been an absolute blast. I've enjoyed it.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up review show.